Good evening and welcome. You're with News First, your number one news provider. I'm Shamir Rasulde.
And I'm Nicola D'Zoiza. We start off with a look at tonight's headlines.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa says the government has spent an enormous amount of money on the health sector. Common opposition candidate Maithripala Sirisena's campaign commences in Kandy. I resign due to the cartelism in the UMP. A statement from the former General Secretary of the UMP.
ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂක මෛත්‍රීපාල සිරිසේන මහතා දිනවීමට ගත්ත තීන්දුව මට එකඟ වෙන්න පුළුවන් කමක් නැහැ.
Veteran film director Soma Ratna Disanayaka pledges support to the common candidate.
And on our top story tonight, President Mahinda Rajapaksa says that an enormous amount of money has been spent on the health service in order to provide a better health service to the people.
The annual conference of the Family Health Service Officers was held today at the Sugatadas Indoor Stadium under the auspices of President Mahinda Rajapaksa. The head of state addressing the gathering said that it was the current regime that has created a conducive environment to ensure the integrity and safety of the service is ensured. He guaranteed that he will be committed to provide a quality health service in the future.
We allocate a large amount of funding for the health service sector. This year also we did the same. This is because we as well as a nation need a good health sector. In what country can you walk in free of charge and obtain treatment for any ailment? In that way, we are very lucky. We have protected this so far. There were times that people tried to get rid of these advantages. There were some governments who did nothing and tried as much as possible to have as little service rendered by the public sector as possible. Who will do the other things then? The private sector can undertake this. This is the vision they believed in. I, for one, never believed this. Others believed so, even within our party.
A memento was presented to the head of state for the service rendered to the Family Health Service.
Meanwhile, the president left for India today. Presidential spokesman Mohan Samaranayaka stated that the president left on a private visit and added that the president will be returning to the island tomorrow. According to reports by the Hindu newspaper, the president is to visit the country to engage in religious observances at the Tirupati Kovil in Andhra Pradesh.
Common opposition candidate Maithripala Sirisena began his presidential election campaign in Kandy today after nominations were handed over at the election secretariat yesterday.
Maithripala Sirisena paid homage at the historical temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic, where he received blessings from the Mahasangha prior to carrying out election campaigning activities. Maithripala Sirisena and party leaders who have rendered their support to the common opposition candidate called on the Mahanayaka of the Siam sect of the Malwatu chapter, Most Venerable Sri Sumangala Thera. Thereafter, the group engaged in religious observances at the Pulliyar Kovil in Kandy and later visited the official diocese in Peradeniya, where they met with Reverend Father Vianney Fernando.
Meanwhile, common opposition candidate Maithripala Sirisena's first presidential election campaign rally got underway in Kandy this evening.
The rally commenced opposite the Kandy public market today. Common opposition candidate Maithripala Sirisena and representatives of political parties that have pledged their support to him were present at the occasion. The swan symbol was pinned on Maithripala Sirisena at this event.
ගාමිණීගේ පුතා වන මම නවීන් දිසානායක අපි මේ ඇමතිකම් දාලා
I, Navin Dissanayake, the son of Gamini, have cast aside my ministerial positions and left all my other positions at the feet of the President and crossed over to bring about true change for the poverty-stricken people of this country. A road can be built with $8 million, but it cost them $16 million to build this road. My dear mothers and fathers, it is not you that will have to pay for this. It is my generation and I and the next 3 generations that will be held accountable. We know where Basil Rajapaksa was. He was a PRO in the Mahaweli project from the veranda of my father's home. Back then, he did not even have 10,000 rupees. He was a PRO for 7 to 8 years. He got onto the green stage as well. All of this has been forgotten now. The amount of wealth that these people have amassed today cannot be described in words.
We must remember that in 2005, when Mahinda Rajapaksa was the Prime Minister and when he did not have the party or his brothers around him, we were the ones who raised him up and put him in the seat of the President. I wish to state to you now that on the 8th of next month, it will be us that remove him from the seat of the President. My friends, I say that if you have any maternal feelings towards your children in your hearts, if we are to defeat the heroin force, then give Maithripala Sirisena a resounding victory on the 8th. I was on every committee. What is the truth here? A road was built from Pinnaduwa to Kottava, where the cost was initially $2.5 million per kilometre. When it ended, the cost had tripled to $7.5 million. By the time the stretch from Kadawathu to Kerawalapitiya was built, it was $56 million.
Five years have lapsed since the end of the war and they were unable to resolve the problems faced by the people. In Champika Ranawaka's speech, he mentioned how they amass wealth. I do not need to repeat it anew. I wish to ask a question. Into whose pockets did the money flow into from your pockets? We have come to stop that and to give concessions to the people and to give a future to the people and the youth.
Over the past 6 months, 1 billion rupees was spent on slinging mud at Ranil Wickremesinghe. CDs were compiled, books were published, films were made. $1 billion rupees was spent because he said it was Ranil that would contest against him and therefore any mud could be slung at him. A few days before I stepped out, Mahinda Rajapaksa, addressing public sector employees at Temple Trees, said that a presidential election is coming and that he was yet to see who the victorious or defeated candidate to contest against him would be. But even as he made this statement, he did not know that the man who would defeat him was at Temple Trees.
In the presidential election of 1988, my father commenced his presidential election campaign from the historic sacred ground of Kandy. Just as the exceptional service rendered to the people by Ranasinghe Premadasa has been retained in your hearts, I believe that the image of Maithripala Sirisena, who will bring forth a historic new era, is also etched in your hearts.
A media briefing convened by the United People's Freedom Alliance was held in Colombo today. Let's take a listen to the views expressed.
Prior to pledging support to the President, Attanayake met with Ranil Wickremesinghe and reiterated that steps were taken to protect the United National Party and to safeguard that party's identity. He informed Ranil Wickremesinghe that it was not for a personal reason nor want of a position that he was leaving. He said it was because the path that the party is on is wrong, that there was no point of him remaining in the party and that he could no longer be with the party to attempt to destabilize the country. He left as a gentleman on cordial terms. This Sathanayaka is a symbol of gentleman politics.
I left the United National Party and came here because I felt that the party was not moving towards our expectations and our thoughts, and that the cartel system in the UNP at present would be harmful to the country. I am still a member of the UNP, but I cannot support the UNP's decision to work towards the victory of presidential candidate Maithripala Sirisena. Before Maithripala Sirisena was decided upon as the presidential candidate, a pledge was made that 25% from the government would join this movement prior to the submission of nominations. The biggest problem that I had was that Maithripala Sirisena, who said that he would bring over 20 to 25% from the government prior to the nominations and display his strength, had become completely bankrupt when the time to submit nominations came. This is not a winning alliance. I saw this continuously. I was of the stance that as a political party, whether we win or lose, we have principles. And that was the view that at this presidential election, a presidential candidate should come forward from the United National Party. A person was made the presidential candidate and told not to follow the UNP. In the end, this was an extremely difficult decision to make. I am a UNPer. This election cannot be won without the UNP machinations being operated.
UNP ආන්තරණය දුවන්නේ නැතුව මේ මැතිවරණය කරන්න බෑ.
විශේෂයෙන්ම ජෙනරල් සරත් පොන්සේකා මැතිතුමාට
I did not come here because of any lack of respect for General Sarath Fonseca. My respect for him is intact. Today he has been made to once again stand with a group that is facilitating the return of terrorism and implementing political agreements to this effect. We are people who love this country, and therefore I stayed with him on that political journey. I cannot support that journey at present.
Renowned movie director Somaratna Dissanayake declared at a media briefing today that he will be using his vote to support common opposition candidate Maithripala Sirisena at the upcoming presidential elections.
Several other prominent figures from the industry were also present at the media briefing.
When looking at the policies of this government, I believe that he deceived all of us in 2010. I do not think that any citizen in keeping with their conscience can speak on behalf of returning them to power, to re-establish their program or give them blessings. I am one of those citizens. The country must accept the culture of the president or the culture of his children. Under this culture, we have been made to accept that this is the culture that we must follow and that this is how our children should be raised. Just because they won the war and rescued this country from terrorism, we cannot permit the arbitrary, destructive and the authoritarian program undertaken by the present government and his henchmen to offset the war victory. We gave him 5 years to offset that. We are not indebted by any measure. He had his henchmen ate well for 5 years on the back of that victory, and that is good enough. But I will never lose the respect and honor that I have for him.
එතුමා ඇතුළු ඒ ගෝලබාලයන් පිරිස ඒ ජයග්‍රහණය වෙනුවෙන් අවුරුදු 5ක් කෑවා. හොඳටම ඇති. හැබැයි එතුමාට තියෙන ගෞරවය සහ කීර්තිය මම කවදාවත් අයින් කරන්නේ නැහැ.
Following the media pageant that we witnessed yesterday, we do not trust anyone. All they want is millions upon millions in money. Somaratna Dissanayake is expressing these views having come here from that side. We do not have money here. So therefore, I believe they cannot say that money was thrown behind this endeavor, having listened to this address. I did not come here for money. I asked my friend Simon Navagategama why he was working for Sani Premadasa. He replied,
"Machang, මූට මම වැඩ කරනවා තමයි. හැබැයි ඌට යට වෙලා මම මැරෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා. මම හිතන්නේ සෝමගේ."
I believe that the arrival of Some is a similar instance. It is all falling apart.
මීට අවුරුදු 5කට 10කට ඉස්සෙල්ලා මේ ක්‍රමය හොඳයි කියලා.
All the parties which said 5 to 10 years ago that this system was good are now saying that it is not good. There is a single individual who says that this system is needed. Why is he the only one who wants it? As some of the artists who are behind him say, he knows that it is only through this system that he can receive the fever of royalty to satiate his heat for kingship. He strongly believes that he can only receive these royal privileges through this system.
A hall in Navayalata in Kadugastara was attacked this evening. Our correspondent stated that this attack occurred at the end of a meeting of Sri Lanka Freedom Party supporters under the auspices of former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga. According to the information at hand, the attackers had arrived at the location in a black Defender. The Karagastara police are investigating the incident.
The National Freedom Front convened a media briefing today.
He has agreed to abolish the executive presidency. He has agreed to the amendment of the executive presidential system. He has even agreed to leave it as it is. Now, Maithripala Sirisena, who has agreed to all this, has gone and told the BBC network that the executive presidency will be abolished in 100 days. He himself is saying that all powers vested in an executive president will be abolished, but the capacity to act as commander of the military forces will remain as it is. Today, Maithripala Sirisena has accepted that as well and said that the power to handle matters with regard to the Pradesh Sabhas will also be with him.
It was just yesterday Elections Commissioner Mahinda Deshapriya announced that election laws will be in effect from the day of handing over of election nominations until the 9th of January.
Election laws be in effect starting from today until the day election results are announced. During this period of time, propaganda material including the symbol of the party, the name of the candidate, flags and decorations which may promote a candidate or artwork cannot be displayed anywhere except at the grounds where rallies are being held and at registered party offices.
However, this was the situation in several areas across the island today. These hoardings in Chilau were removed about an hour after this footage was recorded.
You're with News First. Welcome back to the news. University lecturers engaged in a token strike today, citing several demands, and did not carry out lectures or administrative work since this morning. A protest was also held in line with this strike action.
The Federation of University Teachers Associations, or FUTA, carried out a protest opposite the University Grants Commission.
අපි මේ උද්ඝෝෂණය කරන්න ප්‍රධාන හේතුව තමයි විශ්වවිද්‍යාල අධ්‍යාපනය සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම දේශපාලනීකරණය.
The main reasons for us to carry out this strike are the complete politicization of university education and university administration, the political influence in the admission of students, and the appointment of an unqualified person as vice-chancellor. There has also been no reduction in the suppression of students, and the education system has collapsed as a whole.
තාම අවසානයක් වෙලා නැහැ. මේ කියන සියලුම සමස්ත කාරණා බිඳ වැටීම අධ්‍යාපනයේ බිඳ වැටීම දිගින් දිගටම එනවා.
අනිකොත් විශ්වවිද්‍යාල අධ්‍යයන ආයතන සියල්ල පුළුල් කළා.
All students who pass A-level examination can be admitted to universities if the universities are expanded. That is the right solution. Turning these institutions into places that sell external degrees is not the solution.
Meanwhile, Vice-Chancellor of the Peradeniya University, Professor Atula Senaratne, stated that academic activities are being conducted as usual.
Examinations are being carried out and students are sitting for them. The professors assigned for this are participating too. When you look at it that way, there is no disruption to the daily activities of the university.
The president of the Student Union of the Ruhunu University expressed the following views with regard to the token strike.
We support the strike that is being carried out by the university lecturers. We do not like and oppose the execution of university activities based on political agendas.
When we made inquiries with regard to this matter from the Secretary of the Ministry of Higher Education, Dr. Sunil Jayantanavaratna, he noted that it is unfair for lecturers to carry out a token strike as they have been given many benefits and privileges.
In his letter to UMP leader Ranil Wickremesinghe yesterday, MP Tissa Thanayaka said that he had become a bait of a cartel within the UNP while the party leader was a prisoner of that cartel.
He said that he could no longer work as a General Secretary of the party in light of the backstabbing and the plots against him.
He notes that he has worked tirelessly for the betterment of the UNP and that it was his sheer commitment and dedication that elevated him to the post of General Secretary.
In the letter, MP Tissathanayaka writes, quote,
I never anticipated that I will have to write a letter of this nature. I am, however, confident that you are well aware about the manner in which Malik Mangala had acted to isolate me from the party and tarnish the relationship between Ranil and Sajid. They have repeatedly attempted to destroy the unity in the party brought about by the Ranil-Sajid alliance and had continuously attempted to undermine me.
Unquote. Noting that he was instrumental in organizing the Janabala Mehayuma, which brought the UNP into power in 2001, Attanayaka adds that it was the actions and unwise moves of then cabinet ministers and that caused the party to lose power. Furthermore, he notes, quote,
despite the many obstacles I had to face after my proposal at the Strategic Planning Committee to unite Ranil and Sajid, I formidably moved forward to make this alliance a success. Though the UNP supporters and I view this alliance with pride, there are many others within the party who envied this, and it is no secret that Mangala Samaravira and were among this group.
Unquote. He adds, quote,
I am of the opinion that Malik Mangala's petty agendas to destroy the party were given a direct hit through the Ranil-Sajid alliance, and this paved the way for a mudslinging campaign in websites that were directly or indirectly affiliated to the trio.
Unquote. Noting that he was not opposed to affiliations with other parties in order to secure power, Attanayaka writes, however, that he was opposed to the move of fielding a candidate from a different political party. He says that he was of the opinion that it should either be Ranil Wickremesinghe or Sajid Premadasa who should contest an election. Further, Tissathanayaka reveals, quote,
it was who chased 17 members of our party to the government and made the government strong with a two-thirds majority. Intention now is to ensure that his close confidants are appointed organizers.
Unquote. In the letter, MP Tissathanayaka informs Ranil Wickremesinghe, quote,
I was a bait of the Malik Mangala trio and you are a prisoner. I was not informed of any recent developments of the party and I am deeply disappointed. I was not even shown the MOU which was inked and the agreements reached, and I believe these efforts were made to sweep under the carpet my opposition as General Secretary if they were not favourable to the UNP and its supporters.
Unquote. He concludes, quote,
you, the leader of the party, have been leaned towards the war through the new alliance. As a result of talks between Mano Tittawala and Malik Samaravikrama in 2004, the UNP lost power in 2004, following a hard-won election in the year 2001.
Unquote. Noting that he will not leave the UNP, Attanayaka says that recent developments have left him with no alternative but to resign as General Secretary of the UNP.
Meanwhile, an election propaganda office of the UPFA came under attack.
A UPFA propaganda office in Parakumpura, Madirigiriya was attacked early this morning.
The UNP cannot bear to look at what is happening now. At a time the UNP is accepting defeat on a daily basis in the Polonnaruwa district, they are running amok. They cannot comprehend where they are or what they are going to do. 7 months have passed and 2 road rollers belonging to the State Engineering Corporation continue to be parked on the roadside in Kiriporua, Ahaliagoda. According to a letter signed by the chairman of the corporation and addressed to the chairman of the Sabragamu Provincial Council on the 11th of July this year, the road rollers were to be parked on the roadside on a temporary basis. According to a letter signed by the chairman of the corporation and addressed to the chairman of the Sabragamu Provincial Council on the 11th of July this year, the road rollers were to be parked on the roadside on a temporary basis. The road rollers were brought in to complete road construction and the carpeting of the Ahaliagoda, Kiriporua, Mitipala and Iddamalgoda main roads. The project to develop the 12-kilometre stretch of road was initiated in the year 2011 by the Regional Development Programme to carpet rural roads under the purview of the Ministry of Economic Development. Incidentally, the 3-year time frame allocated for the road development project expires this month. If the State Engineering Corporation had taken steps to complete the project at 4 kilometres a year since its initiation, it would have been completed by now. But only 5 kilometres of road have been resurfaced under the project. Another 2 kilometres of road had been coated with the ABC mixture exactly a year ago. The road which leads to 3 schools in the area is in a dilapidated state. The ambulance at the Kiriporua Rural Hospital has not been utilized over a period of 3 months, owing to the severe inconvenience suffered by the patients being transported due to the state of the road. While the well-fed urban community are being bestowed with well-paved sidewalks to engage in exercises in the capital, isn't the scant regard shown to these rural communities representative of stepmotherly treatment? Chief Minister of the Sabragamo province, this is over to you.
Rain, rain, go away, come again another day. Was this plea answered? Of course not. The heavens opened up over Colombo and left several roads inundated. We have the footage, more footage later on in the news bulletin. Stay connected, stay with News First. Former Prime Minister of Malaysia, Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, arrived in the island this morning.
Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, who is widely known as the architect of modern Malaysia, arrived at the Matal airport this morning. He arrived at the island to deliver the keynote address at the International Business Leaders Forum organised by the Sri Lanka Malaysia Business Council, which was held in Hambantota. He arrived at the construction site of the new town housing project in Hambantota and opened a model house this morning.
In sports news, spin bowler Rangan Herath was injured during practices at the Pallakale Stadium in Kandy today. In an announcement issued today, Sri Lanka Cricket said that Sachitra Senanayake has been called up to replace Herath in the ODI against England. Senanayake, who had been banned from bowling by the ICC due to a suspect bowling action, had earlier been cleared to play.
The International Cricket Council announced today that it has lifted the ban on Sri Lanka's Sachitra Senanayake and New Zealand's Kane Williamson, who were under investigation for suspect bowling actions. 29-year-old Sachitra Senanayake was banned this July after being accused of chucking. The ICC took the decision to lift the ban following tests that were carried out in Chennai last month. Test reports showed that Senanayake did not exceed the 15-degree limit of bending his elbow when bowling.
Heavy traffic was reported in Colombo this evening owing to heavy rains.
In some locations, the showers did not last long, but the amount of rainfall was such that these places were inundated within a matter of minutes.
Severe traffic congestion was reported from Deans Road, Bauda Lokamawata, Kota Road, the Cemetery Roundabout, Tumulla, Havelock Road and Armour Street, among other areas.
We'll leave you tonight with this footage sent in by our reporters from various locations across the city.